Welcome back to the Round Table Podcast, a place where women sit down, get real, and talk about things that nobody else is talking about. I'm your host, Kim, and today's episode is not for the faint at heart. I first off want to say thank you guys for listening in. Thank you for tapping on to this video, okay? This is our very first episode, and this episode is kind of juicy. It kind of sets the stage for a lot of good topics to come. Okay. Now, like I said before, this is not for the faint of heart. This is not something that might, you know, cause like leave a sour taste in your mouth, for lack of a better word. This is something that happens every day. This is something that people is dealing with. This is real talk. This is real life. This happens all the time. So let me let me just paint the picture for you guys. Okay. Now there's a woman. Okay, this woman, she got involved with a man, and this man, hmm, he is a registered, I'm going to say, intercourse offender for the rest of his life. Okay. And she got involved with him. Now, the case, it wasn't just some type of, statutory nonsense or anything like that. No, not at all. This man was convicted. He did jail time. Um, he was convicted of a serious crime against a 10-year-old child. Okay, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But wait, it's going to get more serious than that. It gets a little bit worse, okay? The woman that we're talking about, she wasn't just, a stranger to the situation. No, she was friends. She was friends with the victim's mother. And she knew exactly what happened. She knew all of the details. She knew everything that happened to the child. And being that she knew, she still chose to be with the man. She still chose to be with him. But the part that really took me out is that she got online. She got online. She publicly made an appearance online for everybody to hear, and she defended the man. She defended her boyfriend. She defended him saying, and I quote, okay, I quote, I looked past what he did because of how he treated me. Hmm. Now I want you guys to just let that sink in, let it marinate, just let it sit there. And I want you to actually put your feet in those shoes for a moment. Okay. And some of you might can't, but I want you to just let that sink in. I looked past what he did to that child because of how he treated me. That is what she said online for everyone to hear. Now, was that love? Was that loyalty? Or was that just plain out delusion? Let me be clear, you guys. Just let me be clear. This isn't about gossip. It's not about tea. It's not about um, making a mock of it. It's not about all of that. This is about taking accountability. Okay? Now, when a woman chooses to ignore a man's history of hurting a child in the name of what? In the name of love? Is that what it was? This is questionable. It's questionable. Was it because of in the name of love? I don't think that it was, in the name of love, because that's not love. That's not loyalty. You know, that's not ride or die. That's none of that. Um, I would say that it's pure delusion. It's pure delusion to literally know details and know things that happen to a child. Um, it's just a lot of of question marks. And I think what I'm getting at, I want to let you guys know, anybody that's listening, that that's a dangerous kind of denial. Okay, that's a dangerous kind of denial that puts other people, especially children, that puts children, adults, parents, aunts, uncles, it puts everybody at risk, okay? And especially kids. I have to say that again, okay? Especially children. Now, it also happens more than we like to admit. It happens every day. It happens in households, and you just would not even fathom. You just would not. Some people couldn't even, literally imagine it happening to them or, their sister, but it does. It does. Let's just be real here. It does. It happens all the time, okay? Some women, some women are so desperate to feel chosen, to feel accepted, to feel loved, that they will ignore all red flags. They will ignore what's going on with these kids. They will ignore every police report, every tear of the victims. That's literally, they hear this, they hear the cries. Some of the cries are subliminal. Some of the cries, they literally, not even cries, it's just red flags, guys. I'm trying to find the correct words. I'm trying to find the words to make you all understand what I'm trying to say and to make you all resonate with the message that I'm delivering. Okay, now I'm gonna give you an example for anybody that's in confusion, for anybody that's trying to brush it off to the wayside like it's not serious, but it is. This happens every day. Like I said, I cannot stress it enough. The example that I want to give you guys is Jarvis Butts. You guys remember that? It was a case that just happened. And it just recently happened to a young girl by the name of Zanaya, Naziah Harris. Now, she was 13 years old, okay? Jarvis Butts was her, I wouldn't say stepdaddy since he wasn't married, but he was dating her aunt. Her aunt was in a relationship with Jarvis Butts, and that put Jarvis Butts in the vicinity of Zanaya. Naziah, I can't get her name correct, but it's Naziah, whatever. It put him in the vicinity of her because he was living in the same household, and he was also dating her aunt. She was living with her aunt, okay? Now, the aunt, Shannon, the aunt's name was Shannon. Shannon had 5 children with Jarvis. Okay, Jarvis was, he is, he's a registered intercourse offender. Okay, for the rest of his life. Now, he was accused of actually impregnating this child and fatally, okay, unaliving her. Okay, and so that's the example that I want to give you guys. Okay, it's the same thing. It's in um direct correlation to what I'm talking about. It's in direct correlation to that. It's no different. Okay, when a woman actually knows what's going on with the man and she literally looks over it, looks past it because how he treated me, or turn a head and ignore things that they know is going on right up under their nose. I don't call that love. I don't call that loyalty. I call that delusion. I call that desperation. Okay? Desperation because of why? Because maybe, I don't know, maybe their physical looks, um, maybe because they have a lot of children. I mean, all kind of reasons. I mean, the list will go on and on and on if we was to break that down. Okay? But that's the example. If you guys know the story, look it up. Jarvis Butts, Naziah Harris. Okay, she was 13. You guys can look that up. Now, let's get back to the story. Okay, Okay, so what I want to say first and foremost is that how he treats you, how a man treats you, it does not cancel out what he did to them. Them could be the children, the victims, okay, in the past before he got with you. That's the message that I'm sending. And it's also, like I said, it has question marks, and it just, it seems a little suspect to me. Now, you guys, like I just said, it does not. If he treats you well, treats you like a queen, buys you clothes, shoes, take you out to eat, give you an allowance or whatever, it does not cancel out what he done to children in the past before he got with you. It does not erase that. It doesn't erase that, especially when we're talking about a predator. Period, point blank. Because, see, some women, they get so caught up in being chosen, okay? They get so caught up in good looks, good hair, material stuff. Oh, he drives this kind of car, or oh, he has good hair and he's sexy and he's chocolate, or oh, he looks like Tom Cruise, or whatever the case may be. It still doesn't erase the history. It doesn't erase who he is. It does not erase what he done, because that's abnormal. Everybody is not, when they're born, they're not predators. They don't have that fantasy. That doesn't turn children, this should not turn them on. That's not normal. Point blank, period. Okay? So while it does not counsel what he done, it also doesn't cancel out a child's trauma. It does not, because he's treating you well, because he's taking you out to eat, because he's giving you money. What about the children? What about the things that he done in the past that actually made him have to register for the rest of his life? What about what he done in the past to the children that made him who he is? Period. So it's like, everything that I just said, it's there. It's going to be there for the rest of his life. It can't be erased. How he is now does not erase how he was then. Y'all, I think you guys get it. I think you're with me on that. Okay? So, while it does not erase, okay, his past, it does not erase a child's trauma because he looks sexy, or because he has a nice car, or because he treats me like a queen. There are some women that says that. While it does not erase all of that, mm-mm, mm-mm. So now, check this. Now the man has moved on. He has another target, or let's just say he's with someone else, he's with another woman. So this time, guys, now we're back on the story. This time he's with someone else. He's moved on. This new woman, fling, girlfriend, whatever the case is, whatever the case may be, he's moved on. But the new woman, she has grandchildren. Okay, she has a family of her own. She has grandchildren that is around, and I would say, I would be facetious, even though it would be truthful. I mean, that's kind of like a kid in a candy store. Okay, period. Now, he's moved on. He's quote unquote living different. He's living different. Okay, and everybody is quiet. Nobody's warning her. Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's bringing it, up. Nobody's making it a hot topic. Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's even asking questions. It's just like, it's common. It's a common thing. It just goes down. It just happens. Like, okay. So nobody's actually holding him accountable. Nobody's holding him accountable because he's living different now. That's what people like to say. He's living different now. He's moved on. He got somebody else. Everybody has a past. People like to use that. They like to use that as an excuse for somebody's past when they've done this or they've done he's doing this and he's doing that. But when it comes to children, okay, everybody has a past and everybody has done something. But when it comes to children, those some let me say this, y'all. Let me say it like this. Now, I know that no sin is greater than the next, okay? But sometimes there's boundaries. Sometimes there is a line between this and that. Some things some people don't do, if that makes any sense. Some people um consider doing this or doing that doing too much. Period. And in this case, okay, in this case, the story that I'm telling you guys about, that's when the person, a person, is literally doing too much. They need to be held accountable. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be front and center. Questions need to be asked. The red flags need to be talked about, because while the people, the adults, are doing that, you're protecting the kids. You're showing the children, our next generation, that there is somebody that will speak up to them. Guys, y'all, listen. I seen a video on TikTok where a woman, she was holding her granddaughter. Hmm. It was so disgusting. The little girl had to be about 5 or 6. And y'all know she was saying, yeah, when I'm with my daddy, he touches me. And the response from her grandmother, she was like, well, baby, hopefully that won't happen. You're going to have a good time with your daddy. That literally made me livid. I could not believe what I was hearing. I mean, and you actually posted that after you recorded it. You did not delete that. She did not delete it. I mean, it was just there. Obviously, I seen it. And I mean, she posted it and holding her grandchild. Now, God forbid. But what if, there's the question. We're coming back to the questions. What if something happens to that little girl down the line? The little girl was literally telling her grandmother, okay, what her daddy does to her when she's with him. And the response from her grandmother was, hopefully it doesn't happen and you're going to have a good time with your father. I mean, I'm talking about women like that who, because that father, I don't know the story, don't know what's going on, but I can guarantee you the father is probably maybe giving the grandmother money, doing this. And I mean, guys, it's literally movies. Okay, Tina, take What's Love Got to Do with It? Tina Turner's mother in that movie, Ike Turner, was whooping Tina Turner's butt. He was doing this and he was doing that. And what was Tina Turner's mama doing? Hmm? Talking her right back in his arms, because Ike Turner was giving her money. Ike Turner was doing this and Ike Turner was doing that for the mother. All because he wanted to control her daughter. Period. Point blank. Now, back to the story, y'all. Okay? When you're quiet, that is when the cycle continues. When people don't speak up, okay, for those who can't speak up for themselves, that's when the cycle continues. That's when the predators have control. It's like when they have control, okay? And that's why I spoke on this. That's why I spoke on this for my first episode, okay? Now, like I said, it was not, I did mention that it wasn't for the faint of heart, okay? But it is something that needs to be talked about. It is something that needs to literally be talked about on the round table, at the round table, on the round table, under the table, wherever. It needs to be talked about, because these children they can't speak up for themselves. I'm pretty sure. There is thousands, okay? Thousands of children that's going through what this little girl or the little girl that I seen on TikTok. I'm pretty sure it's thousands more that's going through the same thing, and they don't have anybody to stand up for them, anybody to take up for them, anybody to show their concern, anybody that shows that they care. No, they don't have anybody. And so the monsters, which is the predators, the monsters, they're in control, because they may be the daddy, they may be the breadwinner, they could be the stepdaddy, they could be whoever, y'all. I'm telling y'all. Okay, so Like I said, that's why I chose to speak on this, okay? Now, I just think that it's disgusting. I mean, I think that it's in the story that we're talking about, I think it's downright disgusting, especially, especially when it comes from a grown woman. Not to mention a grown woman who is, guys, I gotta throw this in there, who is a YouTube celebrity. Okay? Now, what I want y'all to know, okay, I want to tell anybody that's listening this, I want to tell y'all this, that this episode, okay, it's not just about one woman and her choices, okay? It's about all of us. It's about all women. It's about the women who choose to ignore things in the name of love, in the name of fantasy, in the name of loneliness, or just because this or that. Girl, like literally, okay? Um, People don't talk about things like this enough. And if it was talked about more than it is, I guarantee you, I almost know with every being in me that it would decrease. It would decrease. Okay. So to the woman listening, if you ever, if you've ever overlooked any red flags, okay, just to feel love, you've turned the other cheek and not paid attention to this or that just because you don't want to be alone or because, no one else is checking for you or whatever the case may be. You know, I want you to know that this episode is not about me judging you. It's not about the people listening judging you. It's a wake up call. That's all it is. It's a wake up call and it's words um, of reference, okay, for the future, okay, because it might happen again. I want you guys to know that real love, it doesn't come at the cost of someone else's trauma. It doesn't come at the cost of someone else's mental health. It should not. And real loyalty, girl, real loyalty, it doesn't mean protecting a predator. No, 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 no. No, literally, real love does not mean you should have to protect a predator just because you want him around. That's selfish. That's like literally selfish. What does that say about you as a woman? What does that say about you? What does that say about your womanhood? What does that say about if you've ever bore kids or whatever the case may be? So at this table, y'all, I just want y'all to know that, baby, at this table right here, we are going to speak truth, even when it hurts, even when we step on toes, okay? Even when it does all that, we're still going to talk about it because we're not, the things that we get into, the things that we talk about, we're not just talking about people, that's listening, or even because, I mean, literally, it could be happening to the ones that's listening. I want people to come. I want people to listen in. I want people to comment. I would love for people to open up a discussion because your girlfriend next door, she could be going through it. Who knows? Who knows? At this table, guys, love does not excuse the unforgivable. I want you guys to know that. Wear that around your neck. Love does not excuse the unforgivable. It is so many men in this big old world, okay? In this sea. All right? It is so many men, so many women. You do not have to literally undermine yourself because of love or because of what, to feel good. I mean, I'm just saying, we have children, we have another generation that's looking to us, to the grown people, to take up for them. Okay, so I just want to tell everybody, thank y'all for listening. Thank you so very much for being a part of the Round Table podcast. Okay. Now, if this episode made you think about anything, okay, if it made you literally think about anything, think about your homegirl, think about your sister, think about anything, things that might have happened in the past, an old boyfriend or whatever. Okay. Because, like I told you, it ain't about judgment. It's just about futuristically speaking, futuristically thinking. That's all. So share it out. If there's anybody that you know that is in a space in their life and it's dark, and they, are looking, they're looking for somewhere where they can go and maybe they can just let down their hair and be who they are without any judgment, okay? Without anything. And share it with them so that they can join the Roundtable podcast, so that their voices can be heard, so that they won't feel less than, so that they won't. Now, this is our first episode, guys, and I thank y'all for listening in. Okay, it's gonna be many, 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 many more to come after this one. Okay, this first episode, nope, it was not perfect, okay, but I spoke from the heart, and that's all you'll ever get from Kim. That's all you'll ever get is real, raw, real stories, real life, real conversations, because it is what it is at the end of the day. And unless we talk about it, ain't nothing gonna change, okay? And so what I want you guys to do is share it out. Share it with her, share it with him, whatever. And remember that all new episodes are going to drop every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure that you are subscribed. If you have never heard about my channel, go ahead and subscribe to it. Tap the bell so that you'll get your notifications of any time that we upload a post, a reminder, the new episodes, a new clip, whatever the case may be. Make sure that you are ready now so that you don't have to get ready later. Okay? Boom. I want to say this before I go, guys. I want you to remember that your story matters. Your voice matters. Okay? And at this table, it's always a seat for you. So just pull a chair up and come on in. I'm your host, Kim. And until the next time, guys, thank you for visiting the Roundtable Podcast.